Was your Canadian visitor visa refused even before you went for your biometrics? Or perhaps it was refused right after your biometrics on the same day or the next day. This is a situation that many Pakistani applicants and expats in the Middle East region have reported over the past few months. Biometrics are used to confirm your identity and help in background checks. These background checks are required to ensure that you're not ineligible for a visit visa to Canada based on factors like criminality, security, etc. So you need to pass these before your visa can be approved. But there are other eligibility checks as well that are even more important. Like, do you meet the requirements of the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act and regulations as a visitor to Canada? For example, based on Section 179B of the Immigration and Refugee Protection Regulations, which state that an officer shall issue a temporary resident visa to a foreign national if following an examination it is established that the foreign national will leave Canada by the end of the period authorized for their stay. This means that the visa officer wants to ensure that you will not overstay in Canada. And that's why sometimes before you've even given your biometrics, if the visa officer has already determined that you will not leave Canada for any reason, like your weak ties to your country or your employment situation or the finances you have shown, or your travel history, etc., they don't really need to wait for your biometrics before they refuse your application. As even if you did your biometrics, your application was going to get refused anyway because you do not meet all the requirements. But you might be wondering, why is the refusal so close to the biometrics appointment? The fact that your application was refused before biometrics right after it is a coincidence. It doesn't mean that the application was refused automatically. Your application is always refused by a human visa officer.
Margot, your visa application has been denied.
They do take the help of different tools like Chinook and other analytics tools to help them arrive at this decision. And whether or not they look at your application in detail is another question. I have a detailed video on that you can check out. So if this has happened to you, what can you do? If you're certain you submitted a very strong application and an error was made by the officer, you can attempt a reconsideration. You can reapply or you can go for a judicial review. But for both reconsideration and a judicial review, it is important that your original application was really very strong, as otherwise you will just end up wasting more time without getting an approval. You should also request the visa officer's notes. For Abu Dhabi Visa Office, which processes applications from Pakistan, Afghanistan, UAE, Qatar, etc., these days the notes will not be very useful. They often contain the same reason as that of the refusal letter, but for a lot of other visa offices, the notes are still useful in understanding the actual refusal reasons. So I hope this clarifies any confusion you might have had. My name is Rashid Ali. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant from Canada. If you need help in reviewing your refused application or you'd like me to take a second look at your application before you submit it, you can reach out to me as I do offer that service. Take care.